In the icy realms of the Arctic Circle, where the sun dips low for half the year and the ocean breathes beneath drifting sheets of ice, lives one of the most extraordinary marine mammals on Earth, the walrus. With their massive tusks, whiskered faces, and immense size, walruses are icons of the polar wilderness. Walrus calves are born into one of the harshest environments on the planet. Females give birth on drifting ice floes or, in some cases, on remote beaches between April and June, after a long gestation period of about 15 to 16 months, one of the longest among pinnipeds, the group that includes seals, sea lions, and walruses. This extended development time ensures that calves are born large, well-developed, and ready to face the frigid conditions of the Arctic. A newborn walrus calf typically weighs between 45 to 75 kilograms, that's about 100 to 165 pounds, and measures about 1.2 meters or 4 feet in length. Within minutes of birth, the calf takes its first breath of the cold Arctic air and begins to nurse from its mother. Walrus milk is incredibly rich, containing around 30% fat, which allows the calf to grow rapidly and build up a thick layer of blubber. This insulating layer not only provides warmth, but also energy reserves during long periods without food. A mother walrus is intensely protective. She rarely leaves her calf's side and will fiercely defend it against predators like polar bears and killer whales. When danger approaches, she may place her body between her calf and the threat, or push the young one into the water, where both can escape beneath the ice. The bond between a walrus cow and her calf is one of the strongest in the animal kingdom. For up to 2 years, the calf remains dependent on its mother for food, warmth, and guidance. Calves learn essential survival skills by mimicking their mothers: how to dive, find clams, and navigate the shifting mosaic of ice and open sea. Walruses are social animals, and even young calves quickly become accustomed to the company of others. They gather in herds called haulouts, often numbering in the hundreds or thousands. These gatherings are filled with grunts, bellows, and the soft whistles of communication, a soundscape that scientists believe helps mothers and calves stay connected in the chaotic, noisy environment of the ice. As walruses mature, they undergo dramatic physical and behavioral changes. By the age of 3, most calves are weaned and begin to fend for themselves, though females may stay with their mothers or within family groups for several more years. Males, however, gradually drift away and start forming bachelor groups. During adolescence, walruses experience rapid growth. Adult males can reach 3.6 meters in length and weigh up to 1,800 kilograms, almost twice the size of females. Both sexes develop the species' most iconic feature, their elongated tusks, which are actually overgrown canine teeth. These tusks can grow up to 1 meter long and serve many purposes, from defense and dominance displays to aiding in climbing out of the water and breaking through ice. Walruses also develop their characteristic whiskers, or vibrissae, into powerful sensory tools. These stiff, bristle-like hairs contain nerve endings that allow walruses to detect even the slightest movements on the sea floor. Using their whiskers, they can locate clams buried several centimeters deep in the mud, their favorite meal. Adult walruses are specialized benthic feeders, meaning they feed mostly on organisms that live on or near the sea floor. Their diet primarily consists of bivalve mollusks such as clams and mussels, though they will also eat worms, snails, sea cucumbers, and occasionally fish. To feed, a walrus dives to the seabed, using its sensitive whiskers to detect prey. Once a clam is found, it uses a combination of suction and tongue power to extract the soft body from the shell, an impressive display of strength and precision. A single adult walrus may consume more than 3,000 to 6,000 clams in one feeding session, helping regulate benthic ecosystems. By disturbing sediment and recycling nutrients, walruses play a vital ecological role in maintaining the balance of Arctic marine environments. By the age of 10 to 15 years, walruses reach full sexual maturity. Females typically give birth every 3 years, as their long nursing periods limit how frequently they can reproduce. Males, meanwhile, must compete for mating rights during the breeding season, which occurs between January and March. During this time, male walruses establish dominance hierarchies through displays of size, tusk strength, and vocalizations. Battles can be fierce, but are rarely fatal. Most confrontations are resolved through intimidation rather than violence. Females in turn select mates based on these displays, favoring those who exhibit strength and endurance. Walruses are known for their extraordinary social intelligence. They communicate through a complex repertoire of sounds both above and below the water. Underwater, males produce a series of clicks, knocks, and bell-like tones to attract females and assert dominance. Some of these sounds can travel for kilometers through the icy water. In the wild, walruses can live up to 40 years, though many succumb earlier to environmental stress, predation, or human interference. Natural predators include polar bears and killer whales, but the greatest threats today come from climate change, habitat loss, and industrial activities in the Arctic. Scientists can determine a walrus's age by examining the growth layers in its tusks, much like counting tree rings. Each layer represents a year of life. A walrus's thick skin and blubber make it buoyant, allowing it to float effortlessly for long periods even while sleeping. On haul-out beaches, walruses often pile on top of one another in what scientists call thermoregulatory heaps. This behavior conserves body heat and strengthens social bonds. Walruses can have up to 600 vibrissae around their snouts, each capable of detecting tiny movements in the sediment, an ability comparable to a human's sense of touch through fingertips. A single adult may consume over 60 kilograms of food in a single day. Despite their bulky appearance, walruses can dive to depths of 100 meters and stay underwater for up to 30 minutes. The walrus's life cycle, from nursing on floating ice to foraging along shallow seabeds, depends entirely on one thing: sea ice. This frozen platform provides resting places, protection from predators, and stable breeding grounds. But in recent decades, the Arctic's ice cover has been melting at an alarming rate. According to satellite data, the Arctic has lost roughly 13% of its sea ice per decade since the late 1970s, a trend that shows no sign of slowing. With sea ice retreating earlier each year and forming later in the winter, walruses are forced to spend more time on land, far from their feeding grounds. This shift has serious consequences. Walruses must now travel longer distances to find food, expending more energy and risking exhaustion. For females with calves, these long journeys can be fatal. Calves often become separated and drown during extended swims. As ice disappears, tens of thousands of walruses now crowd onto small coastal haulouts, beaches that cannot support such dense populations. The result is catastrophic. When frightened by aircraft, predators, or humans, walruses stampede toward the water, crushing calves and weaker individuals under their massive bodies. In recent years, scientists have documented hundreds of walrus deaths from such stampedes in Russia and Alaska. Warmer oceans also disrupt benthic ecosystems. As sea ice melts, sunlight penetrates deeper into the water, altering plankton growth and the distribution of bottom-dwelling prey. With clams and other invertebrates moving to colder, deeper waters, walruses must dive farther and forage longer, sometimes beyond their physiological limits. Malnutrition weakens adults and reduces reproductive success. The retreat of ice has opened previously inaccessible Arctic regions to human activities, including shipping, oil exploration, and commercial fishing. The noise from ships and industrial operations disrupts walrus communication, and can drive them from critical feeding areas. Moreover, oil spills pose a direct threat, coating walrus skin and reducing insulation or poisoning them through ingestion of contaminated prey. Another hidden danger stems from the rising concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. When carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it forms carbonic acid, lowering the ocean's pH and weakening the shells of clams and mussels, the walrus's primary food source. Over time, this chemical change could undermine the entire Arctic food web. In response to these threats, international conservation efforts are underway. The Marine Mammal Protection Act in the United States and similar laws in Canada and Russia protect walruses from hunting and harassment. The Pacific walrus in particular has been under consideration for additional protections due to climate-driven habitat loss. Researchers are also using satellite tracking to monitor walrus movements and better understand how they adapt to changing ice conditions. This data helps identify critical habitats that need protection. Indigenous Arctic communities, whose livelihoods are closely tied to walrus populations, are working with scientists to promote sustainable management and traditional ecological knowledge. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions remains the most critical step toward ensuring the walrus's survival. While adaptation measures can provide temporary relief, the long-term health of the Arctic ecosystem depends on stabilizing global temperatures. The life of the walrus, from its fragile birth on drifting ice to the mighty adulthood of a tusked giant, is a story of resilience, intelligence, and deep connection to the Arctic environment. For thousands of years, walruses have thrived amid the frozen seas, embodying the strength and mystery of the polar world. Yet today, their future hangs in the balance. As the ice retreats and the seas warm, walruses find themselves navigating a world that is changing faster than they can adapt. Their struggle mirrors that of the Arctic itself, a region undergoing profound transformation at the hands of global warming. In protecting the walrus, we are not merely saving a species. We are defending an entire ecosystem, one that regulates our planet's climate, sustains countless forms of life, and reminds us of the fragile beauty of the natural world. The walrus's story is, ultimately, our story, a call to action for humanity to safeguard the frozen frontiers that sustain life on Earth. By sharing stories like this, you become part of a greater journey, revealing the secret world of walruses and the vast changes shaping the Earth they call home. Each like, each comment, each share lets this story travel farther, finding new hearts and minds. Thank you for joining us. And until we meet again, keep your eyes open to the hidden wonders of our planet. There is always more to discover.